What is the use of this structure and functions? What are we going to do using functions and the concept of structure? A structure variable can be passed to a function either by value or by address. So this is the same thing as a normal variable. We have already seen passing of arguments to a function, call by value and call by reference. So the same way we can use a structure variable as well. And such a structure needs to be global in nature. We have already seen how to declare a structure to be global. When a structure is declared outside the main function, it automatically becomes a global structure. So when you are going to pass a structure variable to a function, it is always better to declare it outside the main function. So this is just an example for structures. Again, struct book. Book is a structure tag having two variables, one is string, one is integer. And here if you see, this is a new way of declaring the variable of a structure. So far we had been seeing only one way of declaring a variable. You are having a separate statement, having the keyword struct, having the name tag and having the variable name. So here, instead of writing a separate statement for declaring a variable, before you terminate the structure body with a semicolon, you are directly giving a variable over here. So this is also understood by the compiler just the same way as you write a separate statement. So this B1 will now be considered by the compiler as a variable of this type struct book. And then you are having the main functions. So this is the way you declare a global structure in C. So now we will see a simple program to pass the structure elements to a function. So how we are going to pass structure elements? Now see, there are two ways of passing values to a function using structures. One is you can directly pass the address of the variable, or you can pass the individual values of the members. So this is an example where we will be passing the individual values of the members of the structure to a function. So first we have declared a structure. The structure tag is boy. It is having three variables, two of type integer, one of type string. No variables have been declared for the structure as yet, only the declaration of the body of the structure is given, and it is declared outside the main function, so it is global in nature. Next statement, here we are declaring the variables. Struct boy B1 is equal to, I am again giving three values. For the string I am giving the value Amit, for the age I am giving the value 25, and for the weight variable I am giving the value 50. So now this B1 structure variable is holding values for the three members of the structure. So how am I going to pass the values of this structure to another function? I said there are two ways. One is using the separate elements or using the address. So here we are going to pass these three values separately to another function. So this is the syntax for it. Print b1.name, b1.age and b1.weight. Always to access the members of the structure we have to use the structure variable and the dot operator. So b1 is a structure variable, dot name, dot age and dot weight. Here if you see, when we use the string, we don't have to mention that array each time. Only in the declaration of the body that array size is to be mentioned. Wherever else in the program we use the string, we are just going to mention the name of the string, that's it. And then here we close the main function. This is the declaration of the definition of the function that has been called. So print is the name of the function, these are the actual arguments. So they are being passed to the print function, this is the function definition. So this name will be copied to this S, age will be copied to this A, and WT will be copied to this W. So each of these values will be copied into these three arguments. So here what are we doing? It is a print statement, that means it is going to display some value. So here we are displaying the value printf S, D and D. S because it is a string, D and D format specifies because they are integers, and S and A and W. Return 0, we are just returning a null value and we are closing this function. So the ultimate output will be the values that have been initialized to the members of the array are passed to the print function and displayed inside this print function. So this is one way of passing the elements of a structure to a function. The next example we will see about how the address of a structure variable is passed to a function. So we are taking the same example of struct book. Book is the tag, again we are having two variables, one is a string and one is an integer. They are declared outside the main function, so this is also global in nature. And again we are having a structure variable struct book b1, and I am again declaring two values, initializing two values. One is for the string, so name is holding the value Java and page is holding the value 880 for this variable b1. So how am I going to pass these values? If I am going to simply pass them by function, simply pass the elements separately, I am just going to use b1.name and b1.page, but here I am going to pass the address. That means here comes the concept of pointers. So the name of my function is show, show, and the argument that I am passing is ampersand b1. That means the address of the structure variable b1. So this address is passed over here, the main function is closed. Now in the definition of this structure I am having a pointer variable. So the address of b1 is passed, which has to be copied to the variable. Because the address is passed over here, obviously the receiving variable should only be a pointer. So this is the syntax to pass the address. All the values for the members of the structure are contained in b1. So when we simply pass the address, it has to be collected by a pointer variable. That is why in the function definition we are having struct book pointer variable b2. So now this b2 will be holding the starting address of the value where the first value of the structure is stored. So when you are going to, we have already seen how to access the members of a structure using a pointer. We use the arrow operator. So that is how you are going to access the structure over here, b2 arrow mark name, b2 arrow mark page, and that is what is displayed here in the output. Java of 880 pages. Java is name, page is the value 880, and it is printed in this manner. Percentage S of percentage D pages. So instead of S, name is printed, instead of pages, page is printed. So these are the two ways of passing the arguments to a function. The first program we saw passing by value, and in this program we have seen passing by address. So this is the concept of using passing structure variables to function.